Hello and welcome to episode 104 of the Movies in a Podshell podcast. The podcast where we take a theme and we pick two films to fit that theme. And this week's theme is, I think Cat and Mouse would probably be pretty good. As always, I'm joined by Mr. Snuffleupagus. You can call him John. How's it going, John?
What's that from? Is that from Garfield?
No, it's from one of the films.
Okay,
it's a safe word. Sex.
Oh,
it's a safe word
in that. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Fine.
You know, and obviously, like as you normally do, John. Like, you know, when you're doing your BDSM or whatever it is you do, and you have to have a safe word with your partner just in case you just go too far. You know. And
no,
the safe word.
Okay.
The safe word is Mr. Snuffleupagus. You know, on this occasion, and we change it. You know, we change it sometimes. But yeah,
wow, that is what an intro. There we go.
It's been boiling up, mate. We've been gone for a while. It's been boiling up. So
really, really funny. About 2 weeks ago, we were all set to record an episode, and we were going to do Apex, and we were going to do, remind me the name of the other film.
Strange Darling.
Strange Darling, and
that's what we're doing tonight.
Wait. But I was away, and I was like, "Don't worry, Jamie, it's fine. I'm in a hotel. I'll pay for the Wi-Fi, and we'll do the pod." I had the mic, I had full equipment, and I paid for the Virgin Wi-Fi, and it was like the Wi-Fi I'd paid for was split across the entire hotel. So I tried to speak to Jamie, and we got into the studio online, and it sounded like you said it sounded like a robot, didn't you? We couldn't have the camera on and converse because it just couldn't cope. It was like 0.5 megabits upload, which for those who, if you want to do anything like this, you need 5 to 10. It's like basic for Netflix and stuff. So that was 2 weeks ago, and before that, we've been on a bit of a run, but we're here to catch up. And actually, to be fair, it means I've actually watched another film that's not even on the pod.
Have you? No way.
Yeah.
That's fantastic
so
news.
We can talk about different things, which will be fun.
I've watched
but
loads
I am
of films.
genuinely just looking forward to hanging out because I haven't really hung out with Jamie for a while either. So
it's
we hang out.
Yeah, we are. This is probably going to be a bit more of a casual episode. Obviously, we're gonna cover two films as always. But yeah, what have you? Well, I started a new job. So basically, I started a new job in the same company, but it's a new job, and so it's been super busy. I've been on holiday. Then I came back from holiday. Then John was on holiday, and so it's been just been pretty wild, hasn't it? But I've watched loads of stuff, so we'll be able to talk about some bits and pieces. But
before we get into film, I think I just want to catch up on where we're at with TV, because before, it's been so long since we last podded. I don't think the first episode of Euphoria was even out at that point. Season 3?
Straight on it. Straight
bad. Straight back with things.
Euphoria's finished now, right? Season 3?
It has finished. I've not finished it yet, which shows how busy I've been, so I've not even been able to keep up with it. I've got 2 left.
Right.
But that's been proven interesting. It seems like it's been very successful, even if not as critically acclaimed as the other series, but just quite happy it exists. I'm intrigued with it, but I don't really know how it's going to end, so I'll see how I feel after I've watched the last 2. But yeah, I want to throw that out there. Jamie, have you started it at all? Interested in even watching it at this point? Not really?
No, so I've not started it because I've been watching other things. But what is interesting when you said like the reception of it and stuff, I find it like we're obviously in a bit of a bubble because we talk about people that I guess like to discuss things in a critical way or whatever, and so it's been getting slated, and we're close to the ground on I guess what people are saying about things. But I think this kind of thing to normal people that are not like us and obsessed like us, they probably think it's all right, you know?
Yeah, I think it's that. I think the thing that upsets me about it is like a big part of Euphoria for me is the music, and we haven't got Labyrinth this year, and it sorely misses it. And there's so many Instagram accounts which are taking like certain scenes where Labyrinth has since released the music on his social media, and like they just cut it to the scene it was supposed to be on, and it's automatically just feels more Euphoria. Because it's kind of the vibe is the cinematography and the music. And when you take one of those aspects away, you realise how important it is. And like Hans Zimmer's score for this, I've not enjoyed remotely. And there's plenty of Hans Zimmer things I like, but it feels like it's got his name on it. But I'm pretty sure he's not done much for it. I think it might have been one of the crew.
I feel like everyone just defaults. Yeah, everyone just defaults to Hans Zimmer, don't they?
Yeah, and we were talking about this because we've been talking about Bond recently as well. Like, I remember watching No Time to Die, which I really loved No Time to Die when it came out, and big Bond fan. But I hated the fact, like in the like final action sequence, it was the Dark Knight music, and it wasn't even like a little bit. It was pretty much verbatim, and like it's like no one cares enough to care. So stuff like that winds me up. But anyway, let's cut that. That's Euphoria. You told me you'd started watching Daredevil on Disney Plus, which I'm really intrigued about because it's based on the Mayor Fisk storyline, which you and I have both read. It follows it close enough, and it has a lot of kind of like mirrors in what's going on potentially in America at the moment with someone who's not the mayor, who might be in a higher state of office. I think it's like, I really enjoyed season 1. I had a few issues with it, but I'm just intrigued to hear what you think about it. And I've almost finished season 2, so I don't know how far along you are.
Yeah, I've only, so I think I've probably watched maybe 3 episodes. I've been watching loads of Game of Thrones, so I've seen Game of Thrones before, but I'm rewatching it with my other half who has never seen it. So yeah, I think that it's really, I'm really enjoying it. Like, and I said to you, like, I actually thought I think you were saying the CGI wasn't very good, but I actually thought it looked pretty good. And I feel like it's just a complete return to form. So I'm enjoying it, and I love that storyline. So that's even better. I don't know whether the Vincent D'Onofrio, I would like it if you stopped doing that.
He's incredible. No, I love him. I love all of it.
I don't know if the cadence of his voice. I just find it a little bit like great. But I mean, look, the show's really good. I'm thoroughly enjoying it. We've just had an episode which is essentially just a courtroom drama, which is fantastic. Thoroughly enjoying that.
So I'll tell you, Jamie just said, threw me under the bus with saying I said the CGI looked rubbish. The scene I was specifically talking about was when the writers talked about the show and the series producers talked about season 1. It was very clear that the opening sequence for that show seems seriously rushed, because there's 3 seasons of Daredevil, which is all about him not putting on the suit and how he's never going to do it again. And then within not even 60 seconds, he's back in it, which feels really like, what? And then it turns out like that wasn't the original plan. Disney producers have been like, you need to get him in the suit early so people know it's that show. They could have done a flashback, which is kind of what it is. But also what's so jarring is not only has that big character moment happened, because it is a soft reboot. It's a bit of a Force Awakens thing.
Definitely is,
but also he's moving in a way you've not seen him move before. So it then feels a bit like, oh, hold on, whoa. What's happening here? And then like there's cool things with the aspect ratio changes between in the fight sequence. So when he's like really listening, like it opens the black bars up, and like I love all that creativity. But it does feel like an intro that was forced in there, and that was my take on it. And because of that, there does seem some, not the kind of Jamie's favorite rubbery people from 2000s Matrix Reloaded and Spider-Man, Sam Raimi's Spider-Man, but it does have that kind of, why is he suddenly like leaping like a frog when I've had 3 series of him basically doing the raid. And that's, for me, just, I went, whoa, that feels too far. Now, in season 1, as it went through, they kind of dropped that a lot. And then by season 2, they've nailed it. Like, the weight seems right. Like, we've talked about this before. It's like it's like the center of gravity, or like the mass or whatever it is. It just felt off. But the actual writing of the series, by the way, it does a really good job of being its own thing, but still continuing what went before. And you can watch it having not seen any of season 1 to 3. But also, if you've seen season 1 to 3, it doesn't poo-poo on it. Like, it builds on it really, really well, and still has that dark, gritty feeling. I still think it's probably some of the best Marvel, because it's actually, without a doubt. And also, to be honest, because so much of the source material is like what's his name? Bendis and Co., which is always like the best stuff.
Brian Michael Bendis.
Yeah, which is always the best stuff anyway. So, you know.
But anyway, it's good. Cool. It's good. I think maybe like, because I sometimes find like, because I didn't jump on it straight away when it was out, you have time to just have zero opinion, like no one's opinions in the back of your mind, so you can just kind of just watch it. I also did, I must confess, I watched it on my iPad, my big iPad Pro. I watched it on a plane. So fine. So that's just, I must confess.
And then other series recently, since I last spoke to you on the pod, I started watching a React series to Battlestar Galactica. And if I've told you about this on the pod, I apologise, which is Casey
I don't think you
Sackhoff, who
have.
plays Starbuck. And she's going
Right.
through with her husband. She never watched it when it came out, so she's going through and reacting to each episode. Her husband's never seen any of it, so he's like has no idea what's going on. And then they're on to season 2 on the YouTube, and they've bring in like the main actors to react to episodes and tell you about like things on set, which I really enjoyed, which then got me rewatching Battlestar Galactica, which was not on the cards for me because I watched it once when it came out like properly and like recorded on VHS off Sky One, like proper old school.
Right, yeah.
And then when I met Jamie at uni, I had it all on DVD and I was super into it. And then I hadn't watched it for a good few years till I started my first job. I remember in like my second year of my job, I was like, I'm going to get back into BSG. And then again, I've like, it's gone away. Hadn't thought about it for years. And that, to be fair, that was like 12, it's been 12 years or something. And I was like, oh my God, I love this. It feels really relevant because the first episode's about everything going wrong because they put AI into navigation systems and it goes very south, very fast. Pretty topical. And then the soul, anyway, and it's about it's got your science fiction, it's got your space battles and the Star Warsy element, but it also has kind of like the part that used to really annoy me when I was younger was it has quite a lot of religious motifs and like a lot of things about faith.
That's the part that I love.
And whatever else. That's the stuff I used to hate, and it's really interesting. Now that's the stuff I'm really into. Such an age thing where it's like
it's a bit like Contact, isn't it? You know the film Contact that we watched.
Yeah,
it's like science
versus
religion and
And I remember like when I was young, I was like, get to the episode where they go to the asteroid and fight the spaceships. And now I'm like, oh, those episodes are boring. Like I want the good character stuff, and it's really like so interesting what you take to when you rewatch these things. But just to say, if you've never seen it, genuinely, it is rated as like one of the best TV shows ever made, and it legitimately is in terms of it's got a lot of ideas about theology. Really, I suppose is the best way to describe it, and I think like
theology and morality, isn't it as well? Like as in, it's all about because the Cylons.
What is life?
Yeah. And because the Cylons, who are, by the way, they're like the alien race, they're essentially robots. Do they matter as much as humans? Which obviously I love that question because it's like, well, yeah. At the moment, I mean, I feel like I absolutely cannot stand AI because I've just seen slop everywhere in work, outside of work. Yeah. So it's I think that it's really interesting. I would say it's super deep. Like, you know, if you really want to go away and like think about something. Yeah.
There's like 4 books about the philosophy of Battlestar Galactica on like different aspects. I've read one of them recently and it's really interesting, but it's like actually harking to real studies and like real pieces of literature. Like it's not just like fan fiction stuff. It's really interesting.
How are you watching it?
It's on. I actually bought it. Controversially, I bought it on Apple TV. Normally, I would have bought the Blu-ray, but I wanted to be able to watch it in bed on my projector. So I was
I've got it on
Apple TV, and then I can just watch it whatever. So to be honest, I've watched it quite a lot of it normally before I go to bed. But I have watched some nights and stuff. I'll watch it downstairs. But it's stood up. The CGI stood up surprisingly well. Not everything's perfect, but like for a show that's nearly 20 plus years old, it launched in 2003 was the miniseries, or 2004. Like it still looks incredible. But I think the reason it's gained such traction again recently, one is because genuinely Kate Sackhoff like talking about it all the time. It's gone on one of the streaming. I think it's on Paramount in the States. I can't remember.
Right.
But also because the topic about it is about AI and life and blah blah blah, so it's kind of people who remember the show are recommending it and people are getting back into it, and there's parts of it which seemed really sci-fi which now are kind of upon us, and then getting people to think about these things differently. So it's really interesting. But I just love the production design of all of it. Edward James Olmos is fantastic. Like he's just it's so good. And I'm on season 3, and I won't get too far into it, but there's a lot of mirror stuff to what was going on in Iraq at the time, but it went on the side of, well, it was kind of telling the war from both sides. So not just the, what am I trying to say? Not just the people who've got into the country, but the people who were originally there beforehand, and like how they reacted to it and what they did, and like what's the morals in warfare for when can you do this thing or that thing. I don't
Apparently
want to spoil
zero
it,
morals
but
anymore, mate.
Well, so yeah, it's super super deep, but really really enjoyed it, and it feels like it sounds really like pretentious, but it's 45-minute TV, but it's like really good 45-minute TV. It's
Yeah.
not episodic.
It's not filler.
It's not filler. Like there's one episode I think is genuinely bad, and even that is still nowhere near as bad as any other show. Do you know what I mean? Like it's just like one episode, but yeah, really enjoying that. And then I'm trying to think. There was one more TV show I wanted to talk about, which we've been watching, and I can't remember what it is. So let's get into films, because you've obviously seen loads. I've got one I would really like to talk about, which I know you've seen. But yeah,
Let's talk about it.
Let's do you know what first? No, let's talk about, you went to see Masters of the Universe, which seems surprisingly like people are enjoying it, but just no one's watching it. Are you on that trail of thought?
So Masters of the Universe, directed by Travis Knight, who's got a really good track record. If I'm perfectly honest, he did Kubo in the two strings or the three strings, Kubo in the two strings, and he also did arguably the best Transformers film, Bumblebee. It is obviously a complete it's not a retelling. It's like a modern day retelling kind of thing. Like they've made it modern. The cast is off the Richter. You've got Camila Mendes, Idris Elba, Jared Leto as Skeletor, who definitely is the best in the entire film. I never thought I'd say that. Alison Brie. It's really really good. So I guess I would say just watch the original first, because if you watch the original first, it means you'll appreciate this as well, if not even more. But yeah, it's essentially about Adam Glenn, who becomes He-Man, and he's trying to stop Skeletor from taking over the whole of Eternia.
Does it feel a bit like Thor 1? Because in my head, when I pictured it and saw the trailer, I was like, it looked like the vibe of Guardians, but with Thor 1 had like the Shakespearean aspect outside of it, but they're kind of like, I'm in the diner and I want an ale, and is there lots of that or not really? Like
I would say
message of it.
I would say, yeah, I mean, I'd say it's probably most close. And the film I was thinking of the most when I was watching it was that film Dungeons and Dragons Among Thieves, was it called? Which came out a couple of years ago, which I think is probably as close to that in terms of its humor and stuff, because I think the humor does land. I would say that it did remind me of Guardians of the Galaxy a bit, and it did remind me of Thor a bit, but I don't know whether it reminded me of Thor because it does have that kind of like God kind of feeling, and it's also got Idris Elba.
Like the character design anyway, as in like the idea of like He-Man and Thor, like with the blonde cut, like how Chris Hemsworth was for the first one. Like it's a similar look, I would say. Yeah.
Like, look, I would just say it's really fun. Like it's fun, it's campy. Like, so it's not serious at all. It's not like a Marvel film where it's, I guess the film is serious, but it's telling silly jokes throughout. I would say that this is like actually campy. Like it feels like it's like it could have been made in the 80s. And it's just dead fun, and the action they've done the action really well. My only complaint, which is my complaint with the vast majority of films nowadays, is that it's 2 hours and 20 minutes long. It's just it doesn't need to be anywhere near that. It could have been an hour and 50, it could have been 2 hours, but 2 hours 20, no thank you. It's just too much, but it's great.
Speaking of films that have cut their runtime dramatically, and I'm guessing probably for reasons, Supergirls is 1 hour and 40 minutes long, isn't it?
Yeah, it's and it's getting very badly received at the moment, which I'm just not surprised.
I'm quite upset about that because Jamie bought me the graphic novel that it's based on for my birthday last year.
It wasn't me that bought it actually, so I can't. Take credit for that. It was your Uncle Pete.
You recommended it to someone to buy it. Sorry, apologies. And yeah, it's great. And I could tell from the trailer what had and hadn't made the cut from the graphic novel, if you know what I mean. And I know these things are adaptations; they're not like for like. It's a bit like Dark Knight Rises and BVS, like what elements you pick and what have you. But yeah, I still would like to see it. I feel like I want to, but I read a thing where they got through 4 film composers. Like in terms of just like it's just stuff like where it feels like something's obviously not quite right. somewhere. And Ollie Harper, who's a massive Superman fan, I'm sure you guys have probably heard us talk about him before, and he does like really, really good retrospective reviews on YouTube. He was just like, one talked about how unmemorable the score is, and he's into the kind of film music I'm into of like a certain era, like 80s and 90s and stuff. But also he was saying about the fact of like, it feels like no one actually who made the film really liked Supergirl that much, in terms of they didn't have something to say in the interest in the character, and that kind of shone through. And like, if that is the case, it's a shame, because like it or loathe the Superman film that came out recently, I feel like it was clear James Gunn does love Superman and really wanted to present him a certain way. And I didn't agree with it. There's a whole episode on that. You can go back and listen to it. I might not have agreed with every single choice made in that, but it was done with love and care. It just might not have been.
It's in the spirit
you'd have made, you know? So that's interesting. But also, to be honest, like the visual style of Supergirl from the trailers, and I know trailer grades can be different to the film grades, just doesn't particularly interest me. And it's interesting, it actually looks quite different in compared to the Superman film, which I actually like the fact that film was so poppy and vibrant, like we talked about the grade for that and like what that did. And Supergirl's not kept that up, because it's trying to be like, oh, we're on this gritty planet and we're showing this. And then a lot of the descriptions have been like, it looks a bit like Guardians, Marvel-y, kind of muddy, flat, not quite right. And then when people say muddy flat, someone always comes and says, yeah, but Zack Snyder's desaturated and muddy. And it's like, yeah, but there's contrast in it and there's reason. Like it's desaturated, yes, but there's contrast, and contrast is a really, really important thing to shape an image. So yeah, it's I don't know, it's I've seen some posts recently of people sharing out some of the Snyder's Justice League where it's been cropped to the mobile format, because obviously the last release was square, so it's quite easy to crop to mobile. And like, I just miss that look in cinematography, to be honest. But that's just me.
I mean,
call it Injustice Universe. I don't care. That's fine. But there we are.
The Injustice Universe.
Yeah, because that's what people used to say it looked like. You know, the Injustice games. Like, it didn't look like that. And like, I'm fine with that. But
I think it's quite sad to it's quite sad that it's come to this in terms of like I actually don't think the Supergirl story that they've chosen, I don't think it's right. And I was just sorry. I was actually just getting up. I was getting up because I've got my iPad right next to me, and like you can actually see like how colourful and I know all comic books are colourful, but this is particularly like colourful. Like that's I've read this.
For those who can't see the video, it's lots of yellows, reds, and pinks, and like the different shades.
It's just super colourful.
And if you compare that to the trailer, admittedly I haven't seen the film yet, and if I'm wrong when I see the film, I'll take it back. But having watched other people discuss it, I feel like I'm not going to be shocked on this. It hasn't got that contrast, and I just think, you know, praise things, give credit where credit's due. Superman looked amazing. It looked like it's weird. It was poppy and vibrant, colourful. Looked kind of like a CW show, but also we talked about this at the time. That was more the aspect ratio for me, being full screen 69 rather than 235 with the black bars. But anyway, so yeah. Another film, jumping around here, but I'm enjoying Film Update. Another film that I saw recently, which I really enjoyed. I went to Scotland for a wedding, and we had a night in a hotel, and we got there quite early. So we were like, let's watch a film tonight. So I finally watched The Drama, which I've been calling The Plan for about since it came out.
Oh, yeah.
Don't know why. The Drama, I mean, I'm not going to give the plot away because it's kind of the whole thing.
Don't say anything about the plot, actually. So because the more blind you go, the better.
Yeah, so effectively a film starring Robert Pattinson and Zendaya. This is a film that caught me through marketing, in terms of they did like really interesting kind of like shoots with Vogue, was it, or Elle or whoever, doing like these really wacky things with Robert Pattinson. I can't work out if he's brilliant or if he just really annoys me, because in that film he drove me insane. But like, I think that's because his character's legitimately going a bit nuts with the scenario. So effectively the plot's about, without giving away what it is, it's like when you think you know someone and then you find out a piece of information, and then you go back and think about how like you overthink lots of small things. So like, if Jamie told me that actually he never really liked cats and he always loved dogs, you know, and then would I then look back on loads of moments in our life and reconsider everything? Probably. So that's a rubbish example.
I would.
Sorry. I don't know where I was going with that. But yeah, so that's
you were trying to think of something PG. That's classic you. I would have been like, yeah, if John told me that like that I don't know, he once mugged an old lady, you know, that's where I'd have gone with it.
Of course, that's why you went for. I mean, we've just been talking about superhero films, so maybe that's your train of thought. But anyway, so I'll tell you what I liked about it, and this links quite nicely to one of the films we will be talking about. It was shot on 35mm, I believe. It looks like a film. It's got heavy contrast in a good way. In terms of, do you know what it reminded me of? It reminded me a lot of like the mood and vibe of it. Weirdly, was quite like Challengers, and I mean about the authenticity of the interpersonal relationships, and like there's unique moments of like how you see. You were muted then, Jamie. Sorry. How like when they're acting around the apartment, or like how they dance or how they talk to each other, seems really natural and normal. And I felt like in Challengers, especially the youngest, when they're at college, that kind of style's really nailed down. I am a shill for Zendaya in pretty much anything she sings. I genuinely think she is fantastic. I think in this again, she's incredible. Very complex things to get across, but I think if anyone can do it, she can. Robert Pattinson plays someone essentially having like a breakdown and just watching it in real time, and it's great. But what I also like is it's a film that really plays on where do people's morals lie, like where's the line. So when the plot is revealed, there are two stories that are told side by side, and you can start to argue which one is worse or not, I think, to an extent, and then watching it play out and like the societal expectations around that and how people then react is super, super interesting. I
think that's one of the most interesting.
But anyway,
No. Yeah, it's one of the most interesting parts of the film is sometimes the discourse around it, because I mean I'm just literally I'm on Letterboxd right now because I was looking at my own review, and immediately I see a 3-star review, and just because the person didn't agree with the thing that's on the film,
I thought you meant you gave it 3 stars. I was about
no.
Okay,
I give it 4.5 stars. No, I thought it was unreal.
Okay,
no, I think that obviously when this is the thing nowadays as well, because everyone's got a platform, says the guy.
Says the guy in the podcast giving the platform.
Yeah. Because everyone's now got, but also it's like, give a monkey a suit, and you know, it doesn't mean that he's going to a wedding. But like, it's the fact that everyone's got a platform nowadays, and it means that they can, like, everyone's entitled to an opinion, everyone's entitled to say what they want, I guess. But people really struggle to separate something that's in a film. And so, for like, Joker's a really good example where, like, I think Joker's a really good film, right? I think Joker's a really good film. It's very derivative.
Go back to this episode about the discourse around Joker.
Yeah, it's really derivative of the King of Comedy, which the thing that pisses me off about the Joker the most is the fact that it's derivative of the King of Comedy and almost like takes it beat for beat. Not because people at the time thought that it was inciting violence and inciting like incel behavior and stuff. And it's like, well, yeah, you have to sometimes just watch it for what it is, you know, like the Joker's a character, and sometimes, yes, there is a message. So, for example, the new Michael film decides to basically give a love letter to Michael Jackson, and it's a bearing in mind, and I wouldn't mind that, but it's a biopic, right? So if it's a biopic and you decide to ignore every single controversy around Michael Jackson because you want to use the music in the film and his family won't let you, then
highest grossing biopic of all time.
It is, yeah, exactly. And they neglect to mention that the accusations around the artist, you know, and those accusations are very well documented. And this is coming from a person who was like completely obsessed with Michael Jackson growing up. And it's like, well, R. Kelly didn't get a free pass. And Diddy didn't get a free pass. And for some reason, like, I don't know whether it's because he's, I don't know, the most successful, greatest solo artist of all time.
Yeah, all that.
And it was also the time as well. And like, yeah, don't get me wrong, he done loads of good things as well, I'm sure. And we never know if it's real, and we don't know if it's he was never found guilty or anything like that. but you must address it in the film. Come on. So anyway, outside of that, right, I think that like you can address complex things in films, but nowadays a lot of people, I feel like a lot of people that I see struggle to separate what is a film, and just because someone does a bad thing in a film, or someone says the N-word in a film, or someone's homophobic in a film, that doesn't mean the film's bad.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I think there was some backlash for some of the actors in, I was about to say the drama, because of the topics it deals with, which again we're not going to go into because you should watch it. But what I would say is it is one of those films that does make you feel uncomfortable at times, because it's taking like really awkward social. I can imagine you hating it because you hate really awkward comedy, and that's basically what it is. It's like a black comedy, but you're like, please stop this moment now, and it hangs there and hangs there and hangs there and hangs there, and then you're like, please God, cut to anything, and like it makes you feel uncomfortable, but it makes you feel like you're sat at the dinner table in that scene. And one of my favorite ones is the photographer for the wedding photos.
Oh my God!
And and anyway, it's just it's really really well done for like making you feel that unease, kind of like some of the Hitchcock stuff we talked about moons ago.
It's the kind of thing that would stop people from. Those are the kind of films then when we discuss them, and we discuss them at a spoiler level, it's the kind of thing that would genuinely alienate listeners. I think at this point now we've obviously got a set of listeners that obviously we align with their morals and values, I would say, because if we don't align with their morals and values, by this time they'd have gone. But it would stop someone from listening. If someone was listening for the first time, they'd be like, oh, I don't like about, and we're going to talk about Strange Darling shortly, and we're going to talk about kind of how that could be seen as anti-feminist, or that people's view on that. And really, like, everyone listens to kind of people, sometimes people do listen to someone that's going to oppose their opinion, but I'm not going to listen to a movie podcast when I don't align with the hosts, because it's not. Yeah, it's kind. You do that for like this is an enjoyment thing. God knows why people would listen to this for enjoyment, but you know what I'm saying, right? It's
no, I do, but
it's a great film,
and it's just lovely watching something that's actually all shot on location. Like, it's obviously shot in the city. It's all based in New York, and everything looks real and tangible, which these days, so many films based in New York, or even if it's not shot in New York and it's shot in a place that doubles as, it looks like a real place. It's not like the end of Ghostbusters when they were like, now we'll just do the steps and then green screen arrests and whatever. It's just, it feels like old. Like, they joke on, I listened to Mr. Sunday Movies, and he jokes it looks like a real movie. And all he means is they actually filmed it in a real place, and there's like a camera crew. And
it's not a joke though, mate. Like,
it kind of isn't a joke anymore.
I'll talk about a film I watched lately, actually, in a minute, that doesn't look like a real movie. But yeah, the thing that happens in the film anyway, I've mentioned many times on the pod that I am opposed to it. So, you know, if you did watch it and you come back, you obviously know that we anyway, it doesn't stop me from enjoying the film though. Just because it makes me feel uncomfortable, I can still recognize that it's a 4.5.
Can we talk about, because we're doing, as we said, we're doing update today, we're not going full in depth, but I want to ask you, when you watched, sometimes look on the pod, sometimes we've been a bit judgy about straight to Netflix films, and I think it's fair to say there's varying degrees of quality. My higher tier one that I really like is Malcolm and Marie. I think it was only on Netflix because of COVID anyway. Yes, it's Zendaya.
Oh, Zendaya.
It's what's his name? I forgot his name again now. Sam Levinson. Yes, I know he's allegedly got some. Anyway, I'm not even going there.
Anyway,
so what I was going to say was, we watched a long time ago, and now that's why it's not the full episode. We're doing an update on lots of things. We watched Apex. Did you feel that Apex looked like a real film? Now, obviously, I know due to the nature of it, there are some special effects and bits and pieces, but could you have imagined it being released at the cinema? So here's my criteria. Could you imagine it being released at the cinema? Did the majority of it look like it was shot actually on location and not with a grey or green screen? And 3, here's my or, did it feel more like, back in the day, a straight to DVD? Questions.
Oh, I love these questions, actually, John. Yeah, these are good questions. So, right. So, God, this is hard. So, I think there's a tier list now of films that go straight to streaming. I think that the films from Apple that go straight to streaming are top quality and could always be in the cinema. I think that Netflix are somewhere in the middle. I think that some of their films, I think they've got a much more varied type of film that the varied catalogue, because a lot of the Netflix films don't actually go to cinema. And then Amazon have a mixture of because they've got their own studio. So Amazon have got a mixture of films that do go to the cinema. For example, He-Man. He-Man was an Amazon film, went to the cinema. But then they've also got absolute dog shit looking films, which are still quite entertaining. And what was that film called? It's the one with, is it the one with Batista? I watched it. Heads of State, the one with John Cena and Idris Elba. So I think that Apex sits somewhere in the middle. So I think that it could definitely be, I think it's better than a straight, it's not I would say it's better quality than a TV movie. I think that in parts it looks like there's a little bit of green screen and a little bit of like money, but I think it's definitely a mid-budget film. So I think they've spent a decent amount of money on it.
Okay.
And I think probably it looked like a lot of it was shot on location. But then you're going to kind of poo-poo me now and probably say something that like,
I don't think I am. No. I tell you what it reminded me of. When I was growing up, there was like a tier of films which would come out of the cinema, but it's the classic Matt Damon says it would make its money back on DVD. It reminded me, not for plot purposes, but in terms of the caliber and level of entry. Do you remember Shooter with Mark Wahlberg?
Yeah, sick film. I like that film.
Right. I love that film, but I don't think it's like a good cinema film. But you could tell it was shot with enough money to put some CG bits in it, and the majority of it is like on location. Yeah. This is, to me, like Apex feels like a modern version of that, where it's like, you're going to laugh. Classic Johnny B. It's a 6 out of 10. It is kind of that level of
It is a 6 out of 10.
It's perfectly enjoyable. It feels a bit like a roller coaster ride in terms of like, there's nothing like have we got the basic setup to make you care for this person with the easy instant screenwriters 101 of how to make you care for them? Yes, it has. Does it do the bait and switch you expect to do almost immediately? Yes, it does. I tell you what did surprise me, and we're not going to go into spoilers, but like I feel like it when you thought it had ended, it then had a good twist on like how to like the final chapter was quite well plotted out with like how people had to work together who you'd not expect, etc., etc. So there's plus points to it. But what I would say is, I think the acting talent they're attracting elevates it a lot. So I think Charlize Theron is genuinely very, very good, and I think like. You know, that helps.
I think they both are.
And you've got, what's his name? Banner.
Taron Egerton.
Eric Banner at the start as the partner. Yeah. Then you've got Taron Egerton. I think Taron Egerton's great in it. And like a lot of my enjoyment of it was...
He's fantastic.
We've all seen the viral moment with a... Dun, 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 and like all that sequence. Great. And like, I feel like it's a film that's got lots of like... share-worthy moments, and I feel like that's what Netflix goes for now. I feel like they know what people are going to clip up and use, and what's going to like, I hate the phrase, make good content. And I feel like is it reverse engineered that way? But I found out.
Oh, don't, because it would just piss me off even more. What are we doing here?
Did you see the Idris Elba film when he's fighting a lion that's on like cocaine or whatever it was? It's not cocaine, but it takes like adrenaline Beast? Or something like. Yeah, so I saw that in the cinema. Beast?
Yeah, I
think it is. It's the same director. It's the same director. And like that, obviously. That felt a similar vibe where it's like, it's
called Beast.
As you say,
I remember you seeing that at the cinema, and I was like, why the hell did you go and see that?
So it's like, it's more than a TV movie. It's more than a straight to DVD. It's got enough budget to make it look like it's bigger, but a lot of it actually is quite a small scale. And
like that film Fall.
Which one's that one?
They're bringing out a new one. They're bringing out a film. They're bringing out a Fall 2. It's basically just about these people that are on like this really tall platform. Yeah. Anyway, carry on. Okay. Sorry.
Anyway, it just felt like it was that tier of film to me. But what I like about it was it's It was quite. It sounds weird. It was like outdoors adventure stuff. Like I've not the kind of films I normally watch. It almost reminded me at the start of The Descent a bit, like that kind of
the aesthetic. Yeah. You're right. The setting in the aesthetic. Yeah, I think you're right.
The tone isn't as dark as obviously, but there are hints of like a nasty underbelly, and it's kind of got the the Bates Motel vibe of someone who's got a bit too much affection for a mother and whatever else. And like, yeah, there's, I don't know. I weirdly quite enjoyed it, but I just thought it's this weird tier of film which feels like it kind of it exists but doesn't exist and what have you. And then, speaking back when we were talking about the tier of films, Netflix also got David Fincher's The Killer, which I did enjoy in terms of like levels.
Yeah,
and that's a Fincher film. And then you have other stuff which is nowhere near it. So that felt much more like a real production. It's weird, isn't it?
Yeah, The Killer.
It's still an audience perception thing.
It is weird.
You're trying to adjust to.
But the thing is, right, and this is again where we're at. Apex is probably made. So Netflix never release the budgets or anything like that. But no. Apex was probably made for around 30 to 40 million. So it literally is the mid-budget movie, and we've been asked the question about that. And what we're going to have to do is probably after we talk about, John's really flipped the script this time, but it's all right. We're starting with Apex, then we'll probably move into what I've been watching, and then we'll probably talk about Strange Darling.
Well, there was a natural link, so I was going with it. But look, I've told you this episode is catch up. It's Jamie Johnny catch up, and this was next on the agenda. Now it's started chucking it down the rain. But yeah,
should we talk? So this right. So yeah, what I was going to say was this film was probably made for like 30, 40 million. Yeah. The viewership was they reckon it was around 100 and 120 million. Like watches within the first week. But the thing is with Netflix, you never know like what to believe. And the thing with Netflix as well is that you would say that Netflix is like the what?
How much did they like actually watch? Like, like on Instagram, it's like how much of a view is a view? How much do you have to watch to it?
Yeah,
that 120 million views.
Exactly. Yeah. So you skipped a little bit there. Sorry. So there's that, but then there's also like you would say Netflix. I would say Netflix caters, and without being disrespectful, but it's going to sound pretentious, and it's going to sound disrespectful, and maybe I do mean it disrespectfully. So what are you gonna do? You can always change your channel. Netflix like caters. I would say it's to the lowest common denominator in terms of like. It's the one streaming service that the vast majority of people have. It's the most popular by far. And so when stuff like Apex gets released, someone sits down after work on a Friday night and they're like, yeah, should we watch this? It's got a girl from I don't know, whatever. Like I'm trying to think of something. Oh, it's got no. The kind of people they wouldn't be watching Prometheus. They'd be like, it's got a girl from 27 Dresses or like whatever it is. And she wasn't in that, by the way, but that's the kind of like audience we're mostly catering to. Then there'll be people like you and me that are like, I know exactly what this is going to be. Like, this is going to be a 6 out of 10, but I'm going to be entertained for the most part. Yeah. And I like Charlize Theron, I like Taron Egerton, and I love Eric Bana. So let's go.
What do you? I honestly think recently. So of all the streaming platforms, Jamie and I always like joke about which one's the best and what have you. I think content-wise recently, I think Apple TV's got, as you were saying, got some really good original films. I'd probably say the best of the streaming platforms as a whole. I think the Netflix catalogue recently has not been great. Like when I've actually looked through of like stuff I've watched, it's actually quite far down the list. I've watched a hell of a lot more Disney recently, and when I say Disney, is it Disney Star or whatever it is, Hulu or whatever it is. So yeah, I don't know. It's changed a bit for me in terms of...
So I find myself, sorry, I think we're slightly delayed for each other, which will be probably fine in the edit. I probably find I don't watch much Netflix at all, really. The ones I mostly watch are Amazon Prime, like the vast majority, and Now TV. They're the only two I watch, really. I do watch Apple as well, and then the others, like not Netflix. I watch the rest of them on there, And if it's got like, I don't know, the odd new film, but I probably shouldn't really have it, if I'm being completely honest, because I don't get much use out of it. And Disney Plus, yeah, Disney Plus is I don't think there's a vast amount of content on there, like new stuff. They don't release loads all the time, like Netflix and Amazon Prime probably puts the most on there. It's just constantly being updated with loads of stuff. But yeah, so I think that this is a film where if you want to watch a good film that is a little bit like this, I would probably recommend you watch something like The Edge, which is an outdoors film, incredible. So yeah,
or Vertical Limit.
Vertical Limit, which definitely isn't a good film, but it's got Chris O'Donnell. Yeah, we should. Anyway, look, Apex. We didn't even say what it's about. It's about a woman called Sasha, Charlize Theron, and her husband Tommy, Eric Banner. They're climbing a wall in Norway, and there's like a storm that hits. Tommy's struck by a boulder and loses consciousness. And yeah, that's basically. I don't want to spoil it, but I'd imagine it's in the trailer. She then decides to start going out on her own after that, and she's kind of met with Taron Egerton's character, who seems super nice in amongst lots of men being horrible to her
by lots of people.
Yeah, and then it becomes like a cat and mouse thing, but that's all in the trailer, I believe. So yeah, and it's very much like I could have written the plot in about 10 minutes. It's that kind of vibe. But as always, the critics thought it was worse than actual people. Yeah, I enjoyed it for what it was. I knew exactly what it was.
I think if you give it credit where it's credit due, I think Taron Egerton's very good. I think Charlize Theron's good. But what I actually liked about it was it's one of those films where it's visual storytelling. It's very clear what's going on with all of it. If you could mute that film and know exactly what's going on, and you could say that's because there's a lack of stuff happening. But I feel like it's essentially it's a chase. A bit like Mad Max is a chase, and you can pretty much watch that on mute and know exactly what's happening and who's going where. I'm not saying this is as good as Mad Max Fury Road, don't come at me. But it's got that kind of level of it's very clear and concise with what it's doing. It knows what it is and it's executing it well. That was kind of my feeling towards it. Like it's like we're gonna do some canoeing and kayaking, we're gonna do some climbing, and we're gonna do some, we've set up like we've got some issues with this and issues with that, and I guarantee well in the film we'll have resolved them. But here we go, and it plays that out, and like it's very clear through the look of people and like how they're shot and framed to visually tell the story. And like I think, to be fair, compared to some things we've watched recently and some streaming products, I think it was actually shot pretty well. Like it's not the most interesting film ever to look at, but like it's like the choreography of it and the blocking of it was actually well executed. And he likes these kind of longer one takes, a bit like the start of Spectre or 1917. And like it depends how you feel about those, because sometimes it takes me out because I'm like, well, a camera couldn't film that, so I already know this is doubled at some point. Like there's a CG or there's a mix in between. But that's me being me and being too picky and knowing these things. But in terms of like, it feels like when you used to go to Disneyland and you go and sit in like those things that like move on the gimbal and they play like a video and you're like part of it, like Star Tours or like stuff like that. Part of me, like parts of this film feels like that. Like there's a chase on a kayak and it feels very much that kind of vibe to me. And it made me feel like, I remember saying to you a long time ago, one of the things I loved about Maverick and about Force Awakens for its sins was that when you have a certain sense of like a film makes you feel like you're in motion because you're invested and you genuinely feel like you don't need 3D, you don't need your chair to move, but you feel like from the way it's depicting the motion on the screen and how it's going, you feel like you're as one with that and like experiencing it at that time. And it did make me feel that. So like, I'm not trying to say it's the best thing ever or anything, but it made me feel something. But like it invoked a reaction in the set pieces and the action scenes. I really like that, and I also like the fact of like, Taron Egerton's character is like we know from trailers and you've all seen it on social media, he's the bad guy of the piece, but it's like unraveling what that's about and like how deep is that, and like. It does the kind of like, are you empathetic? towards this case, are you not? And like explaining it, and like there's some unexpected horror-ish elements to it. I'm not saying it is a horror, but there's some horrific things within it. Jamie's pulling a face at me as if it's not, but I don't know. It's a hard one.
It's surprisingly, I guess, grisly in places for this kind of film. Yeah, so I'd imagine it's like you say, it would make me sad. It would make me sad if they were like reverse engineering films to be like, oh, this would be a really good clip, like, you know, but that's got to be in there because the whole Taron Egerton, he does this bit and it's in the trailer. He basically dances to the Chemical Brothers, looking like an absolute beast. Like he's super muscular. He's obviously dropped a lot of body fat. But I enjoyed it. Like I think that the cinematographer Lawrence Sher, he previously shot the Hangover trilogy and Joker, which I mentioned earlier, which is pretty amusing.
Is this his director or cinematographer?
Cinematographer, yeah. He shot
interesting.
Hangover trilogy, Joker, and Godzilla versus Kong.
What
which is
random resume.
Pure random. But I mean, he's obviously well rounded because he, like you said, you thought it was shot quite well.
I did. And do you know what was interesting though? Joker was one of those films that was shot digitally and then put onto film, wasn't it? Or did they fake the grain after? No, they may have faked the grain after.
Yeah, I will have definitely covered it in the episode about 3 years ago. So you can go and see what
about 3 years
said.
ago.
It probably was.
It was because I was still in the flat. But anyway, there we go.
Yeah. But anyway, so yeah, Apex on Netflix. You're not gonna have a terrible time with it. That's what I said in my review. It's not bad.
Curry night.
Yeah, it's not bad. It's not great. Taron Egerton carries it mostly. Shot surprisingly nicely with a good little score in the background, but does kind of run out of steam for at the beginning of the final third.
Oh, I disagree with that take though. That's the bit I like.
Well,
I like
that's the bit you like. I felt like it had kind of
wind down the sails.
Yeah, I feel like it had blown its load by the beginning of the final third, and I was like, "What's it going to do now?"
Interesting. I liked that because it was kind of like the in Alien, you think it's gone, and then there's a bit more, but instead of it just being like it's back and you've got to finish it, there is some like element of how do you work together and get through. I don't know. I really enjoyed I enjoyed it more than you, clearly, what? I think, but that's fine.
You did enjoy it more than me. I prefer these types of films, and that's not true. Let me rephrase that. I liked this film in particular more at the beginning when it's building the tension between the men that are kind of harassing her and all this. And it reminded me a little bit of a much better film called The Royal Hotel, which I would definitely recommend, which is based in Australia, and it's got Julia Garner and Jessie Henwick in it. It's also got Hugo Weaving. I would probably say, like, look, if you like that part of Apex, go and watch The Royal Hotel, because I think that's a much better film.
I also really randomly reminded me of the revenge film we watched really, really early on the pod. I think maybe like episode 3 or 4. The beer can one. What's it called?
The beer can one. What happens there?
She has to put the beer can on the fire to like score her injury to like seal it back up.
Oh God, what film is that?
It's a key part of the film. She's the one where she gets impaled by the tree. It's a rape revenge film.
A rape revenge film. We've done a few of those, so yeah, I'll have to.
You
Google that. You Google that, and I'll begin talking about what I've been watching.
I reckon it's like episode 3 or 4 on the pod. Let's go back.
How am I going to remember that then? No, why don't you Google woman uses a can to blah blah blah. Anyway, I've been watching lots of films. I've been to the cinema quite a few times as well. So, seeing as John liked to skip over me, I went to the cinema and I saw Exit 8, which was a film based on a video game, and it's basically about a man who is trapped in a subway. And he's basically on this loop, and he's got to notice anomalies in the loop in order to go up a level, up to Exit 8. And it's kind of got like horror elements. You could say that it is a film that is about maybe fatherhood. It's like there's a lot of like anti-capitalist stuff in there. You might even say it could be a pro-life film, but don't I'm semi joking when I say that. So yeah, Exit 8, 3.5 stars. I did quite enjoy it. It can get a bit repetitive at times. So John, have you ever seen True Romance?
Yes,
True Romance by Tony Scott. You seen it with me?
We did it when we did our Halloween film fest. Before that, we started on that one. It's the one where it's written by Tarantino, isn't it?
It's written by Tarantino, directed by Tony Scott. Did we cover it on the pod?
No. I watched it with you and Carl at uni.
What a film!
Ago.
Anyway, I rewatched it. I bought the 4K Arrow release of that. If anyone doesn't know, anyone who's been living under a rock since 1993, it's basically about a guy who marries a prostitute. He steals cocaine from her pimp and tries to sell it in Hollywood while the owners of the cocaine try to get it back. Fantastic cast: Christian Slater, Patricia Arquette, Dennis Hopper, Val Kilmer, Gary Oldman, Brad Pitt, Christopher Walken. Can you believe it? Samuel L. Jackson.
That's a decent cast.
It's an unbelievable cast. It's a 4.5 star absolute banger. I love it so much. It's really good writing from Tarantino, like one of his early ones. I love the writing. I love everything about it. It's Gary Oldman has an absolutely unhinged character. He's like this pimp, like drug dealer kind of guy, like super transformative look that he's got going on. You probably wouldn't even notice it was him. I watched that, loved that. I rewatched Tootsie, which is just one of my absolute favorites. So Tootsie is from 1982. Directed by Sidney Pollack, who you might know from The Firm. This is a film about, it's got Dustin Hoffman, Jessica Lange. This is about a guy, so Dustin Hoffman, he plays a character who, he's an out-of-work actor, and he adopts a female alter ego. And essentially he's a bit of a pain in the ass to work with, and so people just won't give him work because he's really annoying on set, and he wants to do things like slightly differently because he really cares about like the craft and stuff. And so he becomes this female character, Dorothy, and she ends up becoming like a complete feminist icon. It's very, very funny. I'd highly recommend Tootsie. It's a rewatch for me. For the first time, John, I watched a great film. Well, I think it's great. Another Tony Scott film, Unstoppable. Ever seen it?
That was my first ever film I saw with Harriet. We went
Was it?
to the cinema. It was snowing. We walked to Broad Street Cinema from Halls, and we watched Unstoppable. And I remember my main thought of that film is, why does that police helicopter or the news helicopter keep flying so close to the train? That's more dangerous than the actual incident that's happening.
Well, is it because it's 1 million tons, 100,000 lives, 100 minutes?
It's his last film, isn't it, Tony Scott? Or is it not?
Is it his last film? Is he passed away?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. I will tell you if it's his last film or not.
I'm quite sure.
Well, I'm not sure if it is because the things aren't going in the order that I want. It's in order of popularity instead of the order that I want it from.
Tony Scott, Unstoppable.
It could be, but my favourite film of his, by a country mile, is
his last movie was Unstoppable.
Okay, well, I really like it. I think it's obviously a bit bonkers in the way it's shot at times, but I would say it's like a really good. It feels like a 90s film, but it's not. It was made in 2010,
it's 100% a 90s film in terms of like the style of it. I enjoyed it. Like, again, it's not 6-7 territory. Like,
yeah, it's not Speed.
It's not.
He just said 6-7.
No, I did not. No. It's not.
I'm 36, man. What am I doing?
I love watching a grumpy Denzel Washington shout at Chris Pine. You know, that's what I'm here for.
It's I wouldn't say it's up there with Speed, but I would say it's. I think this film has gone pretty under the radar. I'm sure it didn't at the time, but people do not talk about this film at all anymore. And I had a lot of fun with it.
It's also teal and orange central, isn't it?
It is, mate. Yeah,
it's that era of like the teal and orange look. But like, hey, look, it's colourful and vibrant, which is something we've been lacking for many years. So let's embrace that.
It is. Mortal Kombat 2. So I went to the cinema to see Mortal Kombat 2, the reboot. Now this, when we were talking about films that don't look like films, this is really entertaining in terms of like it's super gore fest, splatter fest. Really tries to capture the spirit of what Mortal Kombat is. However, I think there's probably one real set. I counted one real set in the entire film. It's very dark. It's very CGI, but it is quite funny, and the kills are gnarly as hell. My enjoyment was, I'll give it a 6 out of 10. It's scraping a 6 out of 10 in terms of quality. My enjoyment was probably a 3.5, and I think Carl Urban as Johnny Cage is excellent. Is it anywhere near as good as Mortal Kombat from 1996? Absolutely not, because that is one of the...
I think.
1994. Okay, you can correct me in a sec. But yeah, it's nowhere near as good as that one, because that is absolute goat material. See, 1995?
1995, yes.
1995, yeah. Whoops.
Take it back.
Right, and I want to talk about a film which we're going to talk about Strange Darling. We're going to talk about mid-budgets and what that means. But I did want to just talk about a film that I tried to get John to see, but he's just too busy, called Obsession, which I'm sure everyone listening, because you like films, you've probably seen it. Obviously, the guy who also is on the podcast hasn't seen it because, you know, commitments and that. But Obsession is a film by... a film by Curry Barker. I believe it's his first feature film. This is a film about a boy who really has a crush on his female friend, and what he does is he purchases a one-wish willow, and it's this little like willow stick, and what happens is you can break it and make a wish, and that wish will come true. He buys it from this silly little shop.
What could go wrong?
So obviously we don't think it. Yeah, exactly. We don't think it's real. So what he does is he breaks the one wish willow to try and win his friend's heart, and he breaks it and he says, "I want Nikki," or yeah, something like that. "I want Nikki to love me more than anyone else," and so she does. And it comes at a very high price, and so his friend Nikki just goes. The film's called Obsession. You don't need to know any more than that. But it escalates.
It's like the episode of Buffy
escalates.
when Xander does the love spell and it all goes wrong.
Yes, it is. Yeah. Do you know what? It's exactly like that, but it's way gnarlier. So, but yeah, I really enjoyed it. It's. I would say
the only thing I've seen of it is no, don't do that, don't do that. And I was like, I have an idea of what this is about.
Yeah, Indy Navarrete plays Nikki Freeman, and she is unbelievable. Like she's absolutely fantastic, and she really carries it. It's probably my film of the year so far. People have been complaining because some of the cast members got paid like, I don't know.
The Kruger didn't get paid 15, a lot. Was the production designer? Yeah,
they got. Well, some of the cast members got paid like 15 grand, and it's made like 100 million, and it's like, why haven't they been given any money? And it's like, well, because the producer is the person that takes the risk on the budget of the film, and most films don't make any money. Some of the films that do make money, that are probably smartly budgeted, like this one, and back rooms, then go make loads of money. And so it's like, well, that the thing that these people do have is that they've worked on the film, and like Indy Navarrete, for example, I think it was quoted that she got paid like, I don't know, 15 grand or something. Bearing in mind for probably 25-day shoot, which is quite decent money, but no one knows it's going to get. And by the way, I'm not saying that like it's right. I'm not saying that someone out there has made 100 million. I'm not saying it's right that none of these people get it, but really, like she's on the map now, and she'll get loads more work from it probably. Obsession is probably my favorite film this year. Yeah, it's unbelievable. I then watched a very sexy erotic vampire film by Jean Rollin, French director. The film is called Lips of Blood. Trust me, there's a lot of lips in it. And it's basically about, it's very like, how do I describe it? It's a really haunting film, and it's about a guy who sees a photograph of a ruined castle at the seaside, and it basically like triggers this like weird childhood memory, and then he goes on a quest to find this castle with 4 female vampires. It reminded me of I can't remember the film, but I will look in a minute when John's talking and I will find the film. But it reminds me of an old film that's on the Criterion Collection. I can't remember its name. I watched it not long ago because I love it, but I obviously don't love it that much because I can't remember what it's called. So yeah, it's very haunting. Don't watch it when your mum's in the room, or I don't know, maybe not even your girlfriend if people get uncomfortable about things like that. But yeah, it's super nudie. I also watched a film called Hokum, which is another film from this year, 2026. Damien McCarthy, who people might know from the film Oddity, which he released, I think, a year ago. He's also done a weird film called Caveat with this little bunny thing. Oddity's very good. It's got Adam Scott in it. You know Adam Scott, John?
Yeah, from Severance.
That's it. It's basically, he's a novelist, and he goes to a place in Ireland to scatter his parents' ashes, and essentially he's consumed by tales of a witch haunting the honeymoon suite, and there's a disappearance of a girl, and it's really good. It's 107-minute runtime. Probably slightly too long for the amount of content, but I loved it. It was a 4-star for me. And then let's just finish this up with 2 more. I rewatched The Amazing Spider-Man, John, 4K. Talk to me.
That's quite a desaturated film, to be fair, isn't it?
It is quite desaturated, yeah, but I love it. It's very good.
I prefer the sequel for the basis of the fact it's so vibrant and so colourful, and it's a complete like contrast to what came before it. And really interestingly, the grade for the new Spider-Man trailer is done by the guy who did Drive, right? And if you look at that colour scheme, it looks really like they're going off what The Amazing Spider-Man 2 looks like. Because even people who dislike Amazing Spider-Man 2 kind of agree it's one of the best looking comic book films. Even if they don't like the plot beats within it or some of the acting, I think visually it's just stunning. And like it still, for me, is like my favourite visual version of Spider-Man. Like at the start, he jumps out and then you see like the suit like flapping in the wind on the 4K. And then he goes down, and then they didn't have that in like the Marvel ones with Spider-Man in, and then they're implementing those kind of touches and detail into the new Spider-Man film with Tom Holland, which I'm quite looking forward to be honest. But anyway, you watched the first one, so how did that hold up? I love Andrew Garfield in it, to be honest. I think he's a great Peter Parker, even if he was too old by the time he was doing it. But
yeah, he was. Andrew Garfield and Emma Stone. I think I love Emma Stone in this. And I love
their chemistry is insane in that
Yes.
film, and I always forget about
yes.
it. And it carries so much of it, even when it's like, you know, is it as strong as the first Spider-Man film with Tobey Maguire? It's not, no, because it doesn't have the style enough to it. It feels more bland, and like I mean that in the nicest possible way, but it does feel more bland.
I'd say it looks better than most films today.
Yeah, because I still think
looks
it's that era
unbelievable.
where it's still lit particularly well and like shot in a way that even if it's not on film, it still looks like a film.
I dropped half. So the last time when I last watched it, I gave it 4 stars. I dropped it half a star since then because it takes so long to get going. Like it's surprisingly long to get going. But yeah, the chemistry between Andrew Garfield and Emma Stone is unreal, and they were obviously dating for a bit as well. I love them two in this. So it's I do enjoy it. I thought again, like it's what 2 hours and 20 minutes. Like what are we doing here? Anyway, unlike Carnival of Souls, which is the film that I was talking about just a minute ago. So Carnival of Souls, 1962, 78 minutes, black and white. This is I love this film. It's properly haunting, and it's got, you probably could watch it with your mum or your girlfriend because unless they would get bored easily, because films in the 60s sometimes they can be a bit slow, but this is very haunting film, and I think John would like it. So yeah. Anyway, and then finally I watched a film called They Will Kill You, which I saw someone slate the other day, but I think it's because they didn't get it. So I'm such an asshole. Like it's
We know.
unreal, isn't it?
It didn't take 104 episodes to establish that.
Yeah. Thanks, mate. But he's right. Yeah, he's right. Absolute. I am bad cop, and I'm going to continue to be bad cop. So they will kill you, right? 94 minutes. Do you know what? I'm looking at the letterbox now, and the person they've given it 1 star, and it's like, you just didn't get it. This is about, so this has got Zazie Beetz in it, Tom Felton, Heather Graham, Patricia Arquette.
Yeah.
Really good cast. This is a TV movie kind of thing, like not going to be in the cinema. It's about a woman who answers a help wanted ad to be a housekeeper in a mysterious New York City high-rise. Unaware, she is entering a community that has seen a number of disappearances over the years and may be under the grip of a satanic cult. Now, does that synopsis sound like it should be taken seriously? No.
Nah, it sounds more B-movie in a...
No. And so obviously the film, when people are saying it's like a Kill Bill, like people are like comparing it to Kill Bill, and saying it's like ripped Kill Bill off, I would actually argue that it's not a Kill Bill, it's not ripping it off. And I've seen loads of people say this. It's actually it's a homage, just like Kill Bill is a homage to loads of other films, and it's like it's quite clearly doing. It's crazy. It's a wild film, and you know what? If you don't believe me, you can watch Red Letter Media as well, because they thought it was really good, and they said it was super bonkers, and it is super bonkers, and it's about a hotel high rise where people are disappearing because of a satanic cult. So it's not serious. So just go and watch the film.
It's silly, and it's supposed to be.
Yes, thank you. Anyway, speaking of Kill Bill ripoffs or Tarantino films, we're going to talk about a film called Strange Darling. And you're like, what do you mean? What's that got to do with Tarantino? And I do remember a while ago when I first watched this film, I was like, yeah, the beginning of it really, it's almost like over stylized. Like it just feels like a Tarantino film. But anyway, this is a film from 2024. This is directed by J.T. Molnar. It's got Willa Fitzgerald. It's got Kyle Gallner, who I love. I love Willa Fitzgerald as well, by the way. But anyway, that's the film. So have a little listen.
Did you know who the cinematographer of this film was?
So, right. Yeah, this is super surprising, right? So, yeah, Giovanni Ribisi is the cinematographer and producer on the film. I'm like, I don't know that name. And then I Googled it.
Phoebe's brother from Friends.
Yes, I know him. Of course I know him. It was, and you know what? What an unbelievable job that he does. And unbelievable.
I'm going to get a weird link, but it's shot like a 70s film, which is a Tarantino style thing. But what I was going to say was, it's also, recently I watched the Alien series, the Alien Earth, and people moaned about certain things and that, but it was doing techniques to make it look like it was shot in the 70s, which was kind of the appeal to me. Yeah. Because how they did things, like the slow zooms at certain times, that kind of stuff. But yeah,
crash zooms as well. Like it's got a crash zoom right at the beginning with the
bit of Django kind of vibe as well. And obviously, I know that Tarantino got that from the westerns. What I liked about this film was, well, I'll tell you what I didn't like. Going to rent it, and it said, I don't know when to say it actually because it's a spoiler. But
no, please no.
Yeah, I won't. I actually won't.
Okay, no, because I need you. No, we need to talk about this. So. We are going to spoil Strange Darling a little bit.
It's hard to talk about it otherwise.
But John already had it spoiled for him when he went to rent the bloody film.
I went to rent it, and the first thing that came up where it said, Gone Girl meets Pulp Fiction. So straight away I was like, okay. That told me everything I need to know.
I think the magic of this film, so let me just tell you quickly about the film, the synopsis. So this is a shot non-linear, which is really important.
Yeah.
This is about Willa Fitzgerald plays the lady. We shouldn't have a name. The lady. Kyle Gallner plays the demon.
The man.
And so this basically is shot, and I've I did. Well, there's my notes up there. I did have it written down. Right. So this is shot in 6 chapters, and the chapters go chapter 3, then chapter 5, then chapter 1, then chapter 4, then chapter 2, then chapter 6, then epilogue. Right. And that's really important because what it does is it kind of reveals information throughout the film. But on the surface, if you're going into this film, John's either crashed or wants to say something.
No, I'm listening.
Okay, good. Basically, it's a one-night stand, and it turns into a serial killer's vicious murder spree, and that is kind of like on the surface, like that's what it looks like. But obviously, as we go through the chapters, it slowly reveals things.
It's a literal thing of context is king, and it's like a visual representation of context is king, and it talks about like, or it showcases there's certain tropes. Sorry, there's certain.
John, that would have been the best. That would have been the best tagline ever. Context is king. You know, forget Gone Girl. Context is king. Yeah, sorry, carry on.
But okay, it's heavily stylized. We've established that with some of the cinematography and some of the decisions. But it's shot as if it was shot a long time ago. It's shot on 35mm film, and it does very much like bask in that because it says shot entirely on 35mm film, like directly at the start. And that's fine. Like I think it may be indulgent, but like I think it's justified because it's trying to be like, look, this is hard work to do to get this to look this good. But what I was going to say was the killer within the film. It's about how they play on social conventions and awkwardness so people don't question things. And it's like, it's challenging. Like, would you react this way to someone of the opposite sex or not? And like how that affects the plot multiple times. So without going too far into spoilers just yet, how social conventions and like, I think this would work really well in like a British location as well, because we're so like, oh, I don't want to upset so and so, and I don't want to get involved, and like social graces tells me not to, which is why I think so many things do go on because we're just too like trained to like stay in your lane and not get involved almost. So like, yeah, it's how the killer plays on those, but yeah, the chapters, i.e. the reference to Pulp Fiction, each time. The way it's clearly depicting information a way to lead you one way and then pulling you another and making you second guess that over and over. But what's also interesting is we spoke briefly about Drive earlier. It's a very bold, vibrant, colourful film. Like it's got real strong key primary colours, red, lots of blue, lots of, and like the fact that like his jacket is a very like vibrant color, like, and kind of juxtaposes with her outfit, and like her hair is very distinctive because it's like a set like like what am I trying to say? It's dyed like a very primal red color or whatever. Like
danger,
out. danger, high voltage,
mise en scène.
Yeah. Well, basically, yeah, it is. Yeah, of course, it's thought out. Like, and also. I like the fact that, I mean, unfortunately, because of the description I saw, I can't honestly say that I was tricked to falling for the thing. There was one bit which got me questioning, which is when it's showcasing them in the motel, because there's a part where you're like, oh my God, like this guy is like so evil. And then you get the context of what's going on and you're like, right, okay. But really interesting. Did you notice as well, like the idea of like the film's kind of timeless? Like phones didn't really seem to be in it, and like you kind of don't know what year it is. And the other thing I really liked about it, I didn't love when we watched Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I find it quite hard to watch and quite uncomfortable. But what it did have was that level of like the false kind of in this era, so and so, you know, like the fake text at the start to set it up, or like Blair Witch did it as well. I think it's like, you know, the worst spree in this time happened, and it's all started on this date.
This is a true story.
This is a true story, even though you know it's not. And like that's quite a good ploy to don't know, get you interested, because then you start questioning, even though you know it's probably bull. You're then like, oh, is it though, or is it not? And then I don't know. It's just like I like that like element of intrigue. I think would be the word for it.
Mate, do you know what's fantastic? I think that you and I've written I've written most, like a lot of the things you've said, I've written down, like about the colours and about the societal norms, I guess, and what we're so on the same page with a lot of the things that we mentioned. I think, the first thing I wrote down was lots of red, loads of red.
Red.
And the first thing I noticed was, it's oversaturated, like super colourful. It's the camera's overexposed almost in places.
Yes. To make it like it's hard to keep your eyes open, because in terms of like, it's usually during a horrific thing, and it's almost like their eyes hurt.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Because of like, there's some things like go down in the motel room, and then when they break out, like it's daytime, but it's almost like as oppressive as the night in different ways, and like that overexposure makes you feel like the squinting like you do or whatever. It's quite clever.
Yeah, I think that there's some really like there's a lot of like discussion around this film. Like I seen someone review it, and they kind of really heavily criticized it because the woman kind of essentially cries rape, and it's not true and stuff, and what harm does that do to kind of like society and this kind of thing. And I think that it's interesting because like there's a few things that it hints to in this, and it's like, casual sex versus murder, like the risk of disappointment, and like he's like, you a serial killer, and it's a flash forward to him like strangling her. And it's kind of subverting the expectations at that point. And then you realize they're doing a little bit of BDSM. And then there's also, she says, what does no mean? No means yes. That's literally what they say. But actually what we're saying is the safe word is Mr. Snuffleupagus. So when she's saying no, he doesn't want to stop because no means yes. And we've got a safe word because it's that. So it's kind of like leaning into obviously like consent and like where the gray area is, and like, and almost it does get a little bit like rapey at times in that regard. And then she's obviously we completely flips towards the end, and we find out like after a while like she's a serial killer, and it's like well, yes, we obviously live in a society where women are at risk, and we spoke about it before loads, like we spoke about it loads. Women are at risk because of men, like that is true. Like women cannot go for a run at night or even in the daytime with their headphones in for fear of like men doing stupid shit. And so it's an interesting argument, and again we're saying this as two blokes on a podcast. It's an interesting argument when you see it from like the other perspective, where the woman is the antagonist and like doing all these things, and it's for the I guess the store, like the shock factor of like this twist and this story. But what is the difference between Gone Girl and the difference between the way this film does it? I don't know, and also, as we mentioned earlier, there are also like women out there that could do that, like it's not to say that it shouldn't be on screen. The message it sends at particular times when women are at risk, that's, I guess it's not great, is it? But maybe you shouldn't watch it for that reason, I'm not sure what I'm trying to say, but
I don't feel like
I'm trying to get to the bottom of it.
This film is but this film is not trying to tell you that. I feel like, you were talking about earlier about
that's been a complaint though. That's been where the film's heavily been criticised because of that.
But I feel like it's an overread of I feel like that's potentially an overread. I just took it at face value of it. It's like, here's a film where it's subverting expectation of who the serial killer is, and this time it's a woman. And
is that because you're a man?
They play. Maybe, yeah. Did you know what? Yeah, fair, maybe. But I just took
no. Don't back down. No. You don't need to back down. I'm just playing devil's advocate because it's like because that's what someone would do, isn't it? But you're right. Yeah, I think you're right.
Not every film I watch, I think like this is depicting a whole thing of society. I think the fact it's been done in a timeless setting is probably to remove it from certain criticism of that level. But I just feel like sometimes
could be.
You can overread something and like to. I might be wrong. Maybe that is what they're saying. Who knows? Someone can ask them.
He's back down. I can't believe it.
But my point is, when I watched it, I just took it as it's a film, first and foremost, fiction. Even though it says based on true story, it's not. it's fiction, and it's subverting your expectation of here's a character playing on social norms of like what's accepted or like viewpoints.
Yeah.
It's not trying to say they're right or wrong, by the way. It's just saying, pointing out this is what they are. Here's someone playing on them and how it goes. Just as Norman Bates played on them when he talked about how much he loved his mother and she was dead upstairs. You know, like it's I don't know.
I agree. By the way, I agree with you. Like I agree with you, and I think when people are like analyzing it like that, I think you're right. They're overreading it, and it's easy for people to say that if someone's overreading it when they haven't been in certain situations. But I guess like these are the kind of films that do push the boundaries a little bit. I think from the like chapter 2, we start seeing like that, like when she's starting to like she's obviously not quite right because she's going crazy, like she's kissing him and then she's going wild, and then it's obviously we know she's a famous serial killer. Like, was it the electric killer or electric girl or something like that. And she's got a wig on as well, which is crazy. And then we find out he's a policeman. It's just like, I think it's really good. Like I love it, and that I wanted you to watch it because I know obviously she's the electric lady. Sorry, I'd written it in my notes. It's super violent, and I thought that you would enjoy it because of the way it's like crafted. Like I love the way it's crafted.
It's the narrative structure and what have you is interesting and not what you'd expect, but it's just a very good looking film. Like I am a sucker for films with nice looking cinematography. I am a bit of a sucker on it, and I forgive other films that probably aren't the best written if I like how they visually look. I do.
Everything's practical. The whole film's practical.
It's all real.
It's all practical. It's all shot. It's shot on film. The stunts are real. They've got real blood. It's and like we said earlier, like it really, really feels like a film. It feels like it could have been made outside of the digital era, and I love that so much. And I was thinking when I was watching it, it was like almost making me a bit sad because I'm like, it's over, isn't it? Like outside the odd like auteur's film, like I say auteur, like. But like, you know, the odd like Spielberg or Nolan or I guess Tarantino, the people that are still shooting on, like Scorsese, like still shooting on film. And I know I've just named like loads of like film bros, but it's true. Like they're all still shooting on film, and we get some of these. Like it gives me faith because this was made in 2023, or 2024. It was brought out in 2024, but like it gives me faith that like we are still getting the odd one. But I still think time's even moved on. Even in 2 years, we're seeing loads more slop now than we've ever seen, and there's still loads and loads of good films. By the way, like loads of good films.
I think there is a pushback to this. I've seen a video on YouTube recently. It's like why films are starting to look saturated again and why films are looking more like films again. And I think like Hollywood's listened to the backlash about what we've said about Marvel and other things. Well, for example, I watched a really interesting video about, do you remember when digital films didn't look digital? So we talked about Lady Bird ages ago, which is a film that's digital and shot to look like film. And they were saying back then it's because the people who were working on the film sets were still treating the cameras like they were film cameras and lit. For film required a lot of light, so they were still adding lots of light to film digitally. But as the digital cameras have got better, they need less light a lot of the time. So that's why, like, less light's used. But also, we've talked about this. If you shoot things flat, you can have more decisions in the grade and in the edit. So what happens is you end up with like quite a flat looking, even with your LUT on your lookup table and your look, it still looks relatively boring because there isn't the contrast and the depth created in the original image. While older films were, that's how it looks, that's what it was, and it was baked in and they had to commit to it, so they made sure it looked right on set. Was you kind of get this 50-50 thing. Now the film we've just talked about, because it was shot on film, has a very distinctive look, and that look was chosen and done there and then. There may have been some digital grading done on top of, I wouldn't be surprised, but I feel like it's there's films since then and more recently there's videos going up about saying films are starting to look more like films again, and they're talking about how people are bringing back like the idea of committing to a look or making a creative decision and sticking to it, or even grading things to just be more colourful because people are fed up of what they they've been looking at. And also, you've got to attract people back into cinemas. And if people are telling you something's bad looking and they're not that bothered about looking at it, you need to change it. So like in the 50s, they invented VistaVision. So it was like super, super widescreens compete with TV. Then they tried 3D, and then they tried, theatre's always adapted to what the audience doesn't necessarily know that they want, but trying to make it stand out. So,
I mean, sorry, the signal's dodgy tonight. I think it's going to be an exciting edit to see if this is lined up, because I'll be upset because it's been a great pod. It's funny you say that, like he wants to bring people back into the cinema, because I posted something on our Instagram earlier, and a story from the Prince Charles Cinema, iconic cinema in London. 2-star review of the Prince Charles Cinema. Listen to this.
Oh, go on.
A unique cinema experience for sure, but the downstairs screen is not great if you're sitting in the front rows. More importantly, however, it is worth mentioning that some staff members act very snobbish, pretentious and uptight by playing fun police at the cinema. Absolutely unnecessary policing of people whispering to each other from time to time, or taking out their phones, not even bright or noisy, to text a couple of times, which is not distracting to other watchers at all. Happens in regular cinemas all the time and isn't a huge deal. Listen, by the way, that's the problem. That's why the cinemas are empty, because they'll allow it to happen. Yeah. So the fact that the Prince Charles are like, get out, you absolute cretin, and go home and watch on your second screen. That's what you should do. So
watch Apex.
Go watch Apex Go watch Apex on Netflix as a second screen and listen to them repeating the plot. But the film looks super dreamy, like hazy.
It does.
I think the transformation from Willa Fitzgerald is unbelievable when she goes from this, like, I guess, like femme fatale to this ragged looking. She's got her roots growing out. She's completely got ragged blonde hair, and she's just running around in her pants, which is just mental. And I think the ending of it, when she says, the ending of it's so good. The epilogue, when they're in the car and she's in the police car, and she's like, "I don't see humans, I see devils," and she kills the male police officer. And the ending's like super melancholic. It reminded me of Kill Bill quite a lot, which is weird because, I mentioned that just a minute ago when we were talking about They Will Kill You. This is way better than that, though. And the ending reminds me of Pearl. So have you seen Pearl, John? You probably haven't, actually. Mia Goth. So it's the middle. Pearl is the last film. Pearl is the last film. So they've got X. You've got... I think Pearl is the second film. I don't know. I'm having a meltdown. But anyway, it's basically like Mia Goth plays this same character kind of thing, like in these films. T West directs them all. I can't remember the last one for some reason. But anyway, she does this like crazy like smile in the camera, like right at the end, and it's like really up close. And she's like, and it goes on, and he just tells her to hold the smile, like it was completely like they did it like off the cuff. And she just looks crazy, and it goes on for about like 3 minutes. It's so odd.
Oh, really?
And it reminded me of that. One of the other things I just want to mention before we finish off is, and I don't know if I've mentioned this on the pod, but I've meant to so many times, because every time I see it in a film, I'm like, that's one of my... What are you doing, by the way?
Sorry, I just broke something. It's fine.
Fucking break you. So I wanted to mention this on the pod for ages, but this film has so much smoking in it, right? And one of my favorite sounds in a film is someone lighting a fag, and it's such a good sound. It's proper. If anyone's out there that's like, I love the sound of someone like pulling on a fag and a really close up of the cigarette, and someone's like, by the way, just so you know, in England that word means cigarette. But yeah, when someone's like pulling on a fag and it's got like the crackly like fire sound, love it. Yeah, one of my favorites. Anyway, John,
that's so niche.
It is so niche, but I'm just like, that's proper ASMR for me. Anything else you'd like to say about this? Willa Fitzgerald, by the way, she is in... I only ever seen her in Scream, the TV show, which I loved. But I'd highly recommend you to check out Kyle Gallner, who is in Dinner in America. Dinner in America is an unbelievable film. Like, I love it so much. It's very different to this, but yeah, I've realized I've seen almost his entire filmography. Yeah, that's cool. Anyway, anything else, John? Anything you want to add?
I just think well worth a watch. I think jokes aside, like, yeah, there's Tarantino elements, and if you like those kind of films, you'll like the non-linear style. But don't know, just enjoy the ride. Would
you say it's a 1-star Kill Bill ripoff?
No, is that a review?
Nah, good. Delete your account. No, it's fine. No, it's fine. It's just me being me. Anyway, what so this won't be released. By the time this is released, me and John will be doing something pretty cool, won't we? What are we doing on Saturday, John?
On Saturday, we are going to watch a orchestra perform some film music in Kidderminster.
Kidderminster.
Yeah. Yep. And yeah, it's some John Williams music, some Hans Zimmer, some lots of bits, pieces, and yeah, it's going to be pretty good.
Yeah. But Big Tony's on the piano, tinkling the old ivories.
Conducting.
Oh, is he conducting?
Indeed, yeah.
Oh, so no way. Tony's John's dad, by the way, which is hilarious because so whenever we say all one word Tony, I'm actually talking about his dad because he couldn't find the pod. But yeah, so no, that'll be good. So
you had to type it in. He typed in movies in a podshell as individual things, and nothing came up. So unless you put all the words together,
that must be why. Yeah, that's a bit, so many people have tried to find us and can't.
Oh yeah, clearly that's what's gone wrong all these years.
That's what's gone wrong.
But anyway, no, really look forward to it. I love, love to see live music orchestras in general, but it'd be really cool to see that. So yeah.
It would.
Jamie still hasn't seen 2001: A Space Odyssey, and we are going to see it at the cinema because it's on at Showcase Cinemas like over a 2 or 3 week period. So I will check the dates literally as we end this call and get that over because you need to see it at the cinema. No arguments.
Yeah, we do, and then we'll cover it on the pod.
Yeah, absolutely. And then there's a few bits that are being re-released for summer. So maybe there's some other classic films we haven't yet seen.
They're loving a re-release. I can't believe you just out. Well, no, the podcast knew that I hadn't seen 2001, but I'm scared.
We talk about it all the time.
I'm scared. Yeah, I'm scared in case I hate it. But
and as soon as you've watched it, you then come round and you're going to watch Star Trek: The Motion Picture and understand why it is the way it is because it was in 2001.
God, is that going to be a double whammy episode? Star Trek: Motion Picture and 2001?
I don't want to lose people.
Okay, cool. I don't think. Anyway. No, I think you'd be surprised, mate. I don't think we would lose people. Anyway, we've not planned the next episode yet, but there are some things out in the cinema that I would like us to cover. But it's I'm just trying to think about what those could be. Anyway, yeah, we will be in the cinema. We will be. I was thinking Supergirl, to be honest, because they're always interesting to cover.
Yeah, I'd be up for it. I'm sure we can arrange that. We will.
Well, let's do Supergirl then. Well, let's do Supergirl because we've both read the graphic novel as well, and we can talk about. There's a lot of discourse around that. So yeah, but anyway, it's absolutely lovely to be back. As always, you can go on moviesinapodshell.sumupstore.com. And you can buy yourself a t-shirt. We've got 2 t-shirts, both at super reasonable price, pre-shrunk cotton, responsibly sourced, all that business. We've got really, really good reviews on them. And speaking of reviews, if you're on Spotify, if you're on YouTube, so are we. You can go and find us anywhere, any platform really. We only accept 5-star reviews. You can find us on YouTube, all one word, Movies in a Podshell, Tony. And yeah, John, have you enjoyed being back?
I have indeed.
If you were to give the listeners some spirited words for the week ahead, for their work week ahead, what would you say to them? If you were to give them some positive reinforcement for their week of work ahead, what would you say?
Keep calm and carry on, or this too shall pass.
Very good, very good. Yeah, that's great. What I would say is just get your head down. Get the work done and just get to Friday, and then just enjoy yourself. That's what I'd say.
Anyway, for the weekend.
Yeah, you've got what other choice do you have? It's a mortgage to pay. We're in late stage capitalism, guys. Anyway, John, where can they find you?
At jcb.video on Instagram.
We always get a bit unhinged. You can find me at Movies in a Podshell. By the way, just before we do sign off, there's another podcast called Movies in a Nutshell.
Is that?
Yeah.
That's what you were initially going to call it as well.
I know. I'm gonna have to. I think I'm gonna have to probably speak to the solicitors. Yeah. There's a big.
We
there's
wanted Nutshell, but you wouldn't change the Instagram account.
No. Yeah. Someone is getting big time sued. Put it that way, and it's obviously the people I've just referenced. But anyway, that's for another day. We'll be in and out of court now from now until the end of the year probably. Anyway, it's time to go. See ya.